Welcome to my woodcutting guide. Most of the information on woodcutting can be found by clicking on the woodcutting icon where your stats are located. I suggest doing this and going to the axes, and this will tell you information about what level you need to use what axe. This is pretty important because the better the axe is, the faster you can chop, and the faster you can chop, of course, the faster you level, and so on. And that is probably one of the key components to woodcutting, is having the proper axe. Although dragon is not necessary, it is a little bit better than rune, but to tell you the truth, I can't tell much of a difference. But from like bronze and steel, there's a huge difference. And just make sure you're using the best axe that you can when doing woodcutting, and you can do that by, again, clicking on your woodcutting icon and clicking the axes tab. Same with trees. Trees is an important part. I suggest cutting normal trees until you can cut oak trees, and then cutting oak trees until you can cut willow trees. And then really, I suggest for XP purposes, cutting willow trees until your desired level. Once you get 70 plus woodcutting, use do become a little bit faster. Even though you can cut them at 60, I really do not suggest cutting them at 60 unless you are using it for money purposes. Magic trees, again, they're probably the best money as far as woodcutting goes. And yeah, even if you have 75 woodcutting, you can make more money cutting magic trees than you can use, depending on, of course, what world and how many people are there. But anyway, let's get back to the actual woodcutting guide. So what I suggest doing is getting the best axe that you can use, depending on your skill. I can use a dragon axe, so I'm going to use that. You do not have to equip the dragon axe or any of the axes to cut with the axe. All wielding it does is give you one more inventory spot instead of having it in your inventory. One more thing I do suggest for lower level players, or lower level woodcutters I should say, is carrying a knife. The reason for this is if you're members, you can also level fletching while you're leveling woodcutting. This is also pretty handy in below level 15 woodcutting, because you can make arrow shafts which are stackable. I'll show you what I'm talking about later. If you're under 15 woodcutting, I suggest going to Vorok. So simply go to Vorok and go to the west bank, and right a little bit southwest of the west bank there is an area of trees right in there. I suggest going right in that area because there are quite a few trees and it's pretty close to the bank and also the Grand Exchange if you want to sell. So you can chop the trees, go to the bank, and then eventually go to the Grand Exchange, or just go straight there or whatever. So anyway, let's take a look at this area. So once you've made it, equipped your axe or have your axe in your inventory and begin cutting normal trees, they're just trees, and click chop down, cut down a couple, and once you have a full inventory, you can either bank them, which is northeast of here, or you can use your knife on your logs. Again, this is only members, and you can make arrow shafts. The good thing about arrow shafts is it converts all your normal logs into arrow shafts, and arrow shafts are stackable, which means they only take one inventory spot. So you can pretty much keep cutting your normal trees and turning them into arrow shafts, and you won't have to bank, which is nice. And also it levels fletching at the same time. Fletching is only a member skill, so non-members cannot do this, but it is a very good way to level woodcutting and also getting a little bit of fletching XP while you're leveling up woodcutting. The cool thing about this spot is once you do hit 15 woodcutting, you can begin cutting oak trees. The only problem with oak trees is you cannot use your knife on them and make you can't make arrow shafts, but you can make, long bows, short bows. Problem with that is you still have to either drop them or bank them. to get more inventory space to cut more trees. But the cool thing about oaks is oftentimes they have more than one log per tree, so you can click on the oak tree once and just kind of wait for your inventory to fill up or for the tree to fall, which is a lot nicer than clicking on the normal trees, chopping it down in pretty much one hit, and then having to click on the next tree. So it's a big step up in a way, but yeah, I suggest cutting normal trees until you can chop oaks, and then after you chop oaks, you can go to the willows, which I'll show you where you can cut those. There are a few places that you can cut willows. Probably the most popular spot is in Journey Village. Right by the bank, right in here by the fishing spot, there are about 3 or 4, maybe 5 willow trees. And this spot is really popular because it's members and non-members. And you can cut the willow trees and bank them right there. It's my favorite spot, and this is the spot I'm going to show you on the video, but there are a few other spots. Another popular spot is in Sears Village. Right by the bank, there are 2 maple trees actually in the back, and then a bunch of willow trees. Most people like this because they can cut willow trees, and if they get bored, they can go to the maple trees right behind the bank. I do not suggest cutting maple trees for XP. I suggest cutting willows. And yeah, that's another popular spot. Another popular spot is pretty close to by Catherby or whatever, the town below it. And the willow trees are right there, and you can bank there. So yeah, this is what the willow trees look like, and just simply start chopping the willow trees, and then when you get a full load, head up to the bank and deposit them in. I think this is the fastest way to get XP, even if you have over 70 woodcutting. I still come here and cut willows for XP, because they're very fast-paced tree. They're close to a bank, and yeah. So yeah, I suggest cutting willows until pretty much 99. I mean, once you hit 80 plus woodcutting, you have a choice of either XP or money. But to me, I believe this is the fastest way, is willows. But most people want to make money woodcutting, so I'll show you a few U spots and some magical tree spots that I like to use when I do like to make money. Probably my favorite spot to chop yew trees, even in members, is actually in Vorok. Right here, the trees along there. There's only 2 yew trees, but oftentimes there's no one there. And it is kind of a far walk to the bank, but yews are slow anyway, and really, I'd rather chop at trees that no one chops off and have a little bit of a longer walk than chop at yew trees that everyone's at. But yeah, I like those. Those are probably my 2 favorite trees to chop, those 2 yew trees, because really there's not too many people there, if there is any. And yeah, it's probably my favorite spot to chop yews. A really good spot for members for yews is right in here, and the reason this is good, if you did the quest, and I only suggest doing this if you have the quest done, it's the quest that allows you to enter the fish colony and fish the monks. So if you can fish monkfish, you can do this. Anyway, so chop the yews there, and once you have a full inventory, take the boat. The boat takes you all the way up here. Then you simply just go in the fish colony and boom, right there. The reason this is good is because not too many people know about this spot, and there's probably 3, maybe, I don't know, 4 yew trees right there, and no one's ever there because no one really thinks about doing it. But that's a pretty good member spot, although, again, I still like using Vorok. I'm running out of time for this video, but I'm going to show you one last spot, and it's in the Tree Gome Stronghold. It's right in here. The reason why this is good is there's a yew tree here and a magic tree here, which is also the magic tree that I chop at. There's also a few down here, but that's the primary one I chop at, because I chop on that magic tree, bank, and then I can chop on this yew tree. You can also farm in that spot too, which makes it nice. Yeah, I don't really have time to explain it, but that's where I go. There are a lot of people that go there though, and that's why magic trees are kind of a pain. Thanks for watching, and hopefully this video helped you in some way.